Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to make car care make sense. With personalized service reviews that swap the car talk for straight talk, so you know what your car is telling you and what to do about it. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care? That's a job for Jiffy.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hey kids, do you like wrestling? We like wrestling too. This is Shake Them Ropes. I am Jeff Hawkins along with Chris Novembrino. Hi, Chris.
They call me a professional wrestling enthusiast, Jeffrey.
Are you enthusiastic?
I am here.
Oh, well, we'll see how enthusiastic we are by the end of the show. Lots of news, big extended news segment. Let's get to it. Top story. You know, if there's ever a nuclear war, they say that cockroaches will be the only survivors. Well, Jeff Jarrett's going to get a paycheck. That's the only other thing that you can tell. Jeff Jarrett is your new vice president of live events and business development for One All Elite Wrestling, as announced on Wednesday night after his surprise debut, bringing back the last gunfighter character from his GCW days. Behind the scenes, Jarrett's role is to both help AEW when it comes to international business, I guess you could call it a global force, as well as possibly house shows. He'll be working with our friend Chris Harrington and others in that role. Is this a good hire for them, Chris?
I don't know, because I feel like we never really actually hear about Jeff Jarrett's job performance at any of these jobs recently. He just comes in, does them for a bit, departs, and we never hear, did he do a good job or did he do a bad job? We just hear that he had the job and now he no longer has the job. And it's
there's a lot
doesn't seem like there's acrimony, but there does seem to be a lot of turnover.
Yeah, there's a lot of towing this line, and there's a few guys in this department, like Arn Anderson, I consider one of those too, where you never really hear. You know, you hear he's been working with people and helping to agent things, but you never really hear about his job performance day to day, as opposed to, say, Michael P.S. Hayes, who gets in a lot of trouble and stuff. It's another interesting move behind the Jericho promotion and also the Moxley thing of getting more people who have more, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, corporate experience in the big Fed to be sounding blocks for him and for Tony Khan. And I think that's the interesting direction that they're going here, is more corporate. Now, the other thing that kind of
I guess to get back to your point here, right? The thing where maybe this does have utility is that Jarrett fairly recently was in WWE's offices.
And doing live events for them.
Right. And so he probably does, if he shares it in a reliable way, have information to offer that would be of utility to Khan. Now, is that utility that you give a job to, or utility that you pay for a consulting fee and make a couple of phone calls and get all the information to move on? That to me is the real question.
Yeah, and also how much is Jeff Jarrett's ego going to want to be on camera? Because that's a major part, I think. And when Jeff Jarrett comes in, he always has some role on camera before going backstage. And look, I like Jeff Jarrett. Rob McCarran, former host of this show, that's his favorite wrestler. But Jeff Jarrett's never cut. I mean, Jeff Jarrett's had some very funny skits, like the MMA one in Impact, TNA, whatever it was, hilarious. But he's never cut a promo. I mean, let's put it this way. The promo you saw this week on AEW is the same promo he's cut everywhere else.
Yeah, he's had Slapnuts for what? Since 1998 now?
Since 1998, and I laugh at Slapnuts, don't get me wrong. I find that funny. But, my family's been in this industry for years, blah, 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 blah. I find the possibility of house shows for AEW interesting when they're barely selling out 4,000-seat arenas.
Right? That feels like a risk not worth taking. Would it be lucrative to draw house shows of 500-ish?
Oh, yeah, I think it'd be a little bit more, but it's one of those things where it's just, but at the same time,
like maybe 1,000, man, dude, like we're talking about like essentially the equivalent of like AEW Dark Elevation or something like that. I just don't know. I know AEW fans like AEW a lot, but like you could say that about WWE like stands. They love WWE. They don't all show up to house shows.
And the house shows for the most part are to towns that don't get TV tapings of any kind or TV live events like Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-views. AEW, I mean, you already have this Rampage, which is a mess, number one. Number two, hardly anybody watches it. Are you going to get more money from super cards where no titles will probably change?
Right.
And what towns do you hit? Yeah.
Right. And then who are you really featuring? And to me, the only potential people to feature would be like your Bryan Danielsons, or of course now he who shall not be named on AEW television. Like if you were going to do a house show circuit, having someone like CM Punk would actually be of tremendous utility.
And I don't think your stars want to work the road. I gotta be honest with you.
I don't think they do either. And so then it's like, what? We're gonna use Lee Moriarty to draw like crowds of 1,000?
Yeah, we're gonna have Darby versus Ethan Page at the top of the card, and it's like that's a good match. Don't get me wrong, but is that gonna bring out 2,000 people to a house show where nothing's gonna happen and everything happens on TV? Yeah, that's an interesting questionable, but it hasn't happened yet, so we'll put that in our back pocket. WWE announced its third quarter financials on November 2nd with $304.6 million in revenue and $41.6 million in profits. Revenues solidly beat Wall Street expectations of $280.1 million, but profits were slightly below the expectations of $43.3 million. That's just a slight miss. Last year in the similar quarter, the revenues were $255.8 million, but profits were $43.48 million. Revenues were up 19.1% from the third quarter of last year. Profits down 4.3%. The revenue increase was largely $15.4 million in contractual increases for distribution for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and another $14.6 million for production of other original programming, such as reality shows, the AEW stuff, etc., as well as a combination of Livegate merchandise and site fee paid by the city of Cardiff for the Clash of the Castle show, which as a live event did numbers almost identical to each night of WrestleMania in Dallas. Chris, any thoughts?
I think these are very, very strong numbers for WWE considering the overlying market fundamentals right now. I actually think that this is a really good quarterly earnings report.
Is it possibly a recession-proof industry?
It is interesting. I mean, you might consider something like going to see wrestling, maybe sort of like one of these Vice things that you think intuitively people would cut down on the vices during a recession, but in fact, during a recession, people actually put an increased premium on escapism, and wrestling might actually be one of those things that falls into that category.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Time will tell with like Q1 or Q4 and Q1 here, but I think that these are really nice quarterly earnings for that.
Yeah, they're impressive, and there's more to this meeting, but the numbers themselves, this is possibly a dummy-proof business right now, given that McMahon. I mean,
right? Like these are like McMahon numbers too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what these look like. Q4, I would tend to suspect will actually look pretty good under the Hunter regime because like they've been doing good on ratings and stuff. I have to imagine attendance has been pretty good, like live shows and things of that nature. Yeah. We'll see.
More news from the Fed and TV deals. They have a deal with Netflix in Spanish for a 10-episode comedy series about an aspiring Mexican woman wrestler called Contra Le Cuerdos that will debut in the first quarter of 2023. They also have in production for an 8-episode deal with Hulu for a new reality series starring Montez Ford and Bianca Belair, and in Nigeria, a Tough Enough style show, which that third one just made me go, is Nigeria a rich... But then again, they found Mansoor in Saudi Arabia. So what the hell do I know? I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this country's government wants to give you money to do a show here. Okay. I don't knock the hustle, get paid, but any thoughts on those deals? I think the Montez Bianca show, look, it's gonna be contrived and things like that, but they're very interesting people, and I think that might get over pretty big.
I guess I'm gonna have to do homework on the government of Nigeria, Jeff. That's my thoughts right now. I don't know a lot about Nigerian governmental history, but I suppose.
Oh, Chris, you know that there's a lot of princes out there that have.
I'm aware of the princes who reach out to me, and I cannot wait to meet a couple of them because I just sent the checks, and I'm really. Oh no, yeah, we're supposed to be taking a nice vacation here.
I wish you had sent me a check. That would have been nice.
Are you a Nigerian prince too?
I might be. Me and Nana are tight. So
okay. No, so I don't know a lot. I just if the Nigerian government is as sus as the Saudi Arabian government, I think it's icky. And I guess
it's worse. Nigeria is much worse because it, military strongmen take over that country about every 8 months. So
for sure. I mean, I'm calibrating that against leveraging the global oil supply. It's a tricky balancing act. But yes, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think that WWE, given the financials we just looked over, actually really needs to be doing these blood money shows, and I would salute them if they would get away from them.
Company also Hawkins. The company also released that, quote, although the special committee investigation is now complete, the company has also received and may receive in the future regulatory, investigative, and enforcement inquiries, subpoenas, or demands arising from, related to, or in connection with the matters concerning the investigation into Vince McMahon. Professional costs resulting from the special committee's investigation have been significant and are expected to continue to be significant as we continue to incur litigation costs related to these regulatory, investigative, and enforcement inquiries, subpoenas, and demands. Although we believe that no significant business has been lost due to date, it is possible that a change in the perceptions of our business partners could occur as a result of the investigation. That's standard cover your ass language. In addition, as a result of the investigation, certain operational changes, including without limitation personnel changes, have occurred and may continue to occur in the future. Any or all these impacts based on the findings of the investigation related matters and the surrounding circumstances could exacerbate the other risks described herein and directly or indirectly have a material adverse effect on our operations and or financial performance. Now, this is partly interesting because they also noted Vince McMahon also has a controlling share of the stock.
Right. So it's like, well, he's been removed from power, but he's also like a majority shareholder. So
yes, but the investigation is over for now. Let's put it that way.
And how did it conclude? I guess I'm confused by all the business ease there.
Well, that's for stockholders. That's basically cover your asses. Oh, hey, we might have some costs. There might be another lawsuit. Some other woman may come out of the woodwork and sue us. Just to let you know that it hasn't had an adverse effect on business yet, but it could in the future. That's pretty much what that is. That's CYA stuff.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's interesting. I just wonder what the final settlement thing is, and I'm starting to think it might creep upwards of like $50 million.
Yeah, well, it's also Vince is no longer in the day-to-day operations, and John Laurinaitis is gone. That's part of it. A lot of this is Laurinaitis.
Sure.
Here's kind of what a bonehead move I think WWE is making. I'll see if Chris agrees. WWE also announced more of its 2023 WrestleMania schedule, which will be here in Los Angeles, California. It'll be similar to last year, with the big change being that there will be a show called NXT Stand and Deliver that will take place on Saturday afternoon prior to WrestleMania at the Crypto.com Arena, formerly known as Staples Center. NXT hasn't run an arena that size in years. Actually, I think LA was the last time they did it for Survivor Series.
How long do you think that building's going to keep being called the Crypto.com Arena? Less than 10 years? Like it's going to be a fairly quick arena.
It's going to be less than 10 because crypto's going under. Trust me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right. NXT hasn't run an arena that size in years, and the Crypto.com Arena is not that close to... Easy. Is not that close to SoFi Stadium and its Los Angeles traffic. SmackDown and the Hall of Fame will be together again on Friday night, March 31st, in the same building, and Raw will be there on Monday. Now, here's the bonehead move, and this will come to you from somebody who lives in the city of Los Angeles and had to make their way down to SoFi Stadium for a big event. Traffic is ass. Traffic sucks getting into there for a big event. Of course, this was a Super Bowl, and there was no parking at the time. They'll be a little bit different. But the building to run NXT in would have been the Forum, which is where AEW is currently running shows, because the Forum is actually almost in walking distance from SoFi. And then you can just walk from the NXT show over there. But they have that big building mentality, and they're probably getting a good rate for running 3 nights in it. But this NXT, Chris, can't run anywhere close to what Staples capacity would be. I mean, it was even tough with I went and saw NXT War Games Survivor Series weekend when I was down there, and it was full, but those were rabid fans, and this was NXT at its peak with the Undisputed Era and Ricochet and special guest star Kevin Owens and things like that. They're going to have to load this show up with main roster people in order to get a crowd that will even come close to filling a building, because Braun Breaker and Roxanne Perez, as much as I love them, aren't going to be a draw.
Well, you forget about our boy Von Wagner, Mr. Dynamite, charisma. No, I think that the running the Staples thing, you more or less nailed it. They probably got a good deal on it. I think the hope here is that with so many WWE fans in town, if people are making this a destination trip anyways, maybe we can get them into the NXT thing. Maybe they'll offer a bundle deal to try to get people to.
If they offered shuttles with police escorts from SoFi from Crypto.com to SoFi, maybe. But it's going to be impossible to go there in the morning and make your way down the 405 to Inglewood to be there in time for WrestleMania in like an hour and a half. It's going to be impossible. You're going to have a lot of angry people if they try that. So I don't know. All those people in town, they might just be going to night 2 of WrestleMania, because they're not going to make night 1 without. And
that seems kind of, I mean, given the nature of the lack of heat on NXT right now, that doesn't seem plausible to me. So yes, I think that this is a bit of a boneheaded move.
Forbidden Door has opened in WWE. Shinsuke Nakamura will take on the Great Muta at Budokan for Noah, January 1st, 2023. I'm here for that, Chris. I really am. I think, look, Muta is of the generation where, as he was leaving WCW on his second stint, that's when Triple H was coming in. So there's a whole and of course he was probably, I mean, when he was in the mid 90s in New Japan before he left for Noah, that's when Shinsuke was a young boy. So I think he's going to be motivated for this show in Japan. I have that one marked down on my calendar. I'm definitely going to watch that one.
Yeah, no, I think that this will be a really fun and exciting match. I mean, it's not going to be like 5-star Muta classic.
No.
He turns back the no, but I just think like it will be a good story, well told by both parties.
And then like 2 nights later, he's doing one with Sting as part of the retirement tour. So that's going to be a fun few days at the beginning of January, leading up to, of course, New Japan's big show, the 4th. NXT cuts came down one big surprise, the other's not so shocking. Top lining, Bodie Hayward, recently of Andre Chase University. They alluded to him being missing on NXT this week. In addition, Sloane Jacobs, who was 19 and was in the women's breakout tournament last year, was cut. That's a bit surprising as well. Others, Erica Yan, Damaris Griffin, who were both on Level Up, I believe, and Ru Feng. Now, Bodie Hayward's interesting to me, but Bodie Hayward might be one of those cuts, and they do this a lot. Because I didn't think Bodie Hayward was that bad when he was on television. But this might be something where he's behind the scenes thinking he's hot stuff, so they're going to test him to see how bad he wants it and then bring him back if he decides to pursue the indies. But, it kind of knocked me over that the flag bearer of Chase University, which is an over gimmick in Full Sail, was just outright cut.
Yeah, I really don't think, given the nature that they cut him mid-angle, and they just had that skit was so weird. Like, who will carry this flag? And then out comes Duke Hudson. And yeah, like the Kool-Aid man. Yeah, no. And it was very clear they were going a different angle where like Duke and Bodie were gonna like riff with each other, and like there was gonna be a rift. Maybe they'd become a tag team. Maybe they'd end up having like a match. So one of those sorts of things. One of those arcs. I like Bodie. I think he did a really nice job with the character acting required for the Chase University thing. In terms of in-ring, I don't know that I saw enough of him one way or another to really have an opinion on his in-ring. I did see that one comment from him about how I don't think that I need to do moonsaults or whatever. And that just sort of sounded a little bit petulant. And I just don't, it doesn't strike me that like the trainers at WWE were like, hey, huge guy, do more moonsaults. I mean, maybe, and that would be an interesting question, because like modern wrestling is all about the big spot as opposed to being a power guy who's on your feet. Like it's funny because like I've listened to a lot of Arn Anderson podcasts, and he's like, I never really did a drop kick, and now they're expecting these big guys to do drop kicks and other things. It might be expectations. That's a pretty good point. It might be, you know what? I hadn't heard that part of it. They might have viewed that as being difficult and not being willing to do whatever it took to get to the top. So they just cut him to see if he still had the fire. We'll see. Sloane Jacobs is an interesting one too. She's not bad, but she's very, very young. And it's like one of those things where it's like, if she really wants this, she is still at 19, young enough to go to like a Stardom or to a Japanese dojo and train for a couple of years, or go to one of these trusted trainers in America and really have, some doing the things that say, and this is no slight on her, but say like an Anna Jay is doing. I mean, if she had stayed in WWE, she'd become the next Aaliyah / Noof, I think, in terms of, okay, I'm doing all these drills and now I'm trying to think of an entrance type thing. I think this might be, if she is down for wrestling, this might be the best thing that ever happened to her. Yeah, we'll see. But yes, I think Noof is a real cautionary tale of not taking a risk on yourself at some point.
Yes. Yeah, no, I would agree. The XFL has announced its teams owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The teams are the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders, the Houston Roughnecks, the Orlando Guardians, the San Antonio Brahmas, the Seattle Sea Dragons, the St. Louis Battlehawks, and the Vegas Vipers. Changes. The Houston Roughnecks remain the same. St. Louis Battlehawks remain the same. The Renegades are now branded as Arlington rather than nearby Dallas. The Guardians are based in Orlando rather than New York, which has 2 football teams. While still in the U.S. Capitol, the Defenders are now the D.C. Defenders as opposed to the Washington Defenders. Seattle Sea Dragons are no longer the Seattle Dragons. The Vipers are now in Vegas instead of Tampa Bay, which already has a team. The Los Angeles Wildcats, no longer a participating franchise. We already got 2 football teams that we don't really support. If you go to an LA football game out here, it's like 60 to 70% the other team's fans. It's very, very interesting. Chris, will you be making new theme songs for these XFL teams?
Absolutely. And I just want to say how excited I am for the people of Arlington, Texas, because I know, Jeffrey, ever since The Arlington Bulldogs, the beloved ABA franchise that one time I successfully head coached the team to a loss, 0-1 lifetime record as assistant coach.
Really?
I went with stat keeper.
Were you a Tarkanian type? Were you chewing on a towel? What was your gimmick as a coach?
No. So here's how this story goes. I was the stat keeper for this team, right? Coach calls me up and goes, "Hey, I can't make it. Can you be the coach tonight?" And I was like, "What?" And all of a sudden, I am the coach tonight, and I have to call timeout. I was getting briefed a little bit on the rules of basketball. Making sure that I knew all the things that I had to do as a coach. And the guys were all very nice to me and helpful throughout the night. And we did what we could, but we got completely blown out. We were just completely outclassed by the other team.
Who was the coach?
His name, Coach Evans. Coach Evans.
Coach Evans. He didn't have a first name. He didn't even know.
I don't remember his first name right now. I haven't talked to Coach Evans in 12 or 13 years, man. But this is the thing. Arlington has been just starved for sports.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't the Dallas team in there? In Arlington, or am I thinking?
No, you're correct. It is sort of like saying Boston's not a big college town. The Jerry Bowl is in Arlington. Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Couldn't remember the town. In AEW, currently going on because we are recording this early in the evening on Friday, and I will have to watch this anyways. Mike Tyson's going to be on commentary, and I don't know why this is a get, Chris. Explain it to me.
I think it's a get for what will he say on the microphone, but it really begs the question, what type of headlines are you guys trying to get with this dude?
Yeah,
I mean, do you want him to get on the microphone and say a word that we don't say anymore because it's not the 1990s, and he doesn't necessarily mean anything malicious by it, but he doesn't say PC language because he's Mike Tyson, and then we go, oh, who could have seen that coming? I'm sure this will probably go off fine and without controversy, but I don't know that Tyson pops a rating. The last time they used him, they were sort of starting an angle with Jericho, so maybe this is Jericho's hope of getting that Tyson angle.
I don't think Jericho's on commentary. I think he's actually replacing Jericho on commentary. But here's the other thing, and this goes into Lazy River territory. But we have Shibata doing his first match stateside since he was out injured against Orange Cassidy. On a 2-day build, no less, which is just ridiculous.
When you think about who you want to see Katsuya and Shibata face in his first match back, I think it's fairly easy to say Orange Cassidy, a legendary strong style wrestler.
This is Shibata. Shibata said he had 2 wrestlers he wanted to face, Orange Cassidy and Bryan Danielson. So we can't blame...
One of those makes sense.
Yes, we can't blame Tony for that one. But on your big return / debut for some certain sector of American fans, is Mike Tyson the guy you want on commentary?
I don't if Shibata if Shibata came in and murder death someone, Mike Tyson probably would love that. But Mike Tyson would be oh, wrestling rules. That would actually be a really great moment where Tyson just has this on-air realization that he really enjoys this.
Might be going into Lazy River territory as well, but Colt Cabana, we'll talk about that, was Chris Jericho's secret opponent for the ROH title. This is Dave Meltzer writing. Colt Cabana appearing led to even more talk because people saw it as a shot at Punk. They're correct.
Yeah.
Or a vindication of the story that Cabana stopped being used in AEW due to Punk. Also correct.
Correct. Right? Yeah.
Whatever it was Tony Khan's idea. We were told that this was more for the locker room than anything else. We'll take our victory lap. That having Cabana on the show and given a positive spotlight after months of being ostracized for reasons that had nothing to do with him.
What? What?
Was a dressing room morale booster since he has many friends there. Hold it, Chris. As best we can tell, Cabana was only in for that one match, but is still under contract to ROH, but is no longer ostracized and could be used again in some form. Now, here's the interesting part that we didn't know. Cabana was originally hired by AEW as an agent before he started wrestling, and had been doing so for Dark Elevation while being part of the Dark Order. He did that until leaving for Australia for a role in the TV series Young Rock. When he returned, he was no longer used as an agent. It was at the same time Punk got a Steel hired, as Steel had just been fired by WWE in a cost-cutting move. After that, he was no longer brought to TV, which is where the rumors of why this took place. Then his contract was to expire, but he was given a new contract for the same money to work in ROH. But aside from the Briscoes, who aren't allowed by TNT and TBS because of Jay's tweets years ago about homosexuals, Cabana was the only guy under contract to ROH that wasn't brought at times to Dynamite until this week. Floor is yours. I'll talk more about this after.
Hey, look, it is what it is. I almost don't. On one hand, I almost don't have a lot to say, but obviously this is a radio show, so I've got to opine on some level, right?
Well, I can do it if you want.
No, I have thoughts. I'm capable of having thoughts here. I feel like the story, so much of it just speaks for itself, right? Like it is a vindication of what we said on prior episodes. Like, so much of this fight was really over the mistreatment of Colt Cabana as perceived by the elite and friends of the elites. And I think it's very obvious that, like, the initial point of acrimony between Punk and all those guys, it really does start with this idea that those guys can't understand why CM Punk would honestly and truly and rightly not like Colt Cabana for what Colt Cabana did to him. And like, that doesn't mean you have to stop being friends with a guy, but like, at least acknowledge that, like, yes, these two guys don't like each other. Colt's my friend now, but Colt's also done some bad things in the past. And like, this is the price for bad stuff done. And I think what was CM Punk supposed to do in this situation? Like, swallow all of the lawsuit related animus? I mean, like, these guys got pretty bitter with one another. And go in and act like everything's fine because everyone there never has been royally screwed over by Colt Cabana.
To your point, though, the point of Cabana doing bad things is subjective to a lot of people, because a lot of people view Punk as in the wrong for not completely taking care of Punk or taking care of Colt the entire time for the lawsuit, despite the fact that Colt may have wanted to settle, et cetera, et cetera. So he was always the bad guy in that situation. So, yeah, I want to talk, if you don't mind it, I want to move to a different point of view on this whole thing.
Okay, sure.
I don't like the move. I have a lot of friends in wrestling media. Joe Lanza, Mike Gilbert.
Who's Joe Lanza?
Some guy. Okay. Mike Gilbert of Brace for Impact over on Fight Game. Others who love the petty. They love the petty in wrestling. They think it's a great move, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm pretty sure Jericho was the one in Khan's ear about, wouldn't this be great in Baltimore, the home of Ring of Honor, to bring Colt Cabana back? I'm just going to put it this way. Tony cried a lot about the WWE asking about contract status and stuff like that. I'm saying if you don't want the Thunder coming back at you, you don't pull stuff like this. If I'm CM Punk and I see this on TV and I start throwing Pepsis and muffins all over the place, I play hardball with Tony on the contract negotiations. I say you either give me an outright release with no restrictions, or you pay me for the entirety of the contract. And if Punk gets released, he's making a deal to jump, because they're going to want that on WWE television.
Absolutely.
Because now, and now you got a motivated Punk.
That's what I was thinking too. The biggest mistake about this is twofold. Well, I guess there's three levels. One, Colt Cabana is not that good. Like, let's just cut to the chase. He was
better in this match than I've seen in other matches, because there was no comedy.
I will grant that. Better in this match than other matches. This was a motivated Colt Cabana, and even a motivated Colt Cabana is just, he's okay. So there's that level of it. Two, you're doing all of these things to upset Phil Brooks while you still have not finished financial negotiations with Phil Brooks. That's stupid. And like, three, now you are motivating this guy to want to get back at you. Like, the guy's always been motivated by revenge. He gets over past animuses with bigger animuses.
Yes.
So yeah, this is very stupid, because a motivated CM Punk will be if WWE is interested, they will come to terms where he's given like pretty open reign to talk.
Maybe I have one scenario where he won. If he just views this and goes, you know what, I am so tired of everybody in this entire stupid business.
Right. This could be full checkout mode. This could be full checkout mode. But I could also see him being. I think that he might have been very close to full checkout mode, but these are the types of things that push someone from full checkout mode to, you know what, screw all these guys.
Yeah.
They all think I'm washed. And like, they're all dickheads and they're all taking their victory lap. And I'm going to throw this back in their faces.
Do not live by rules that you yourself do not want to live by. That's a golden rule in politics, in just basic business, in everything. Do not go out there and do things that you don't want done back to you. And I just think, as the number 2 company, which AEW is right now, burning a bridge like that also sends a bit of a message to people. And I get that the locker room has never been more united because Colt Cabana's back.
Yeah, I get that, but then one other angle on this really shows who's driving the car. Is it Tony Khan or the locker room?
Oh, it's the locker room.
Right. No, I know it was a rhetorical question. And no, that's what I'm saying. It really shows who's driving the car here, and it's not Tony Khan.
Yeah. A couple of short hits, not all of it good news, but Tommaso Ciampa had successful hip surgery. Carmella revealing on Instagram this week that she suffered an ectopic. Thank you. God, I can say that. I just can't read it. Pregnancy, and previously had a miscarriage in September as well. And also, new champion launch. Alexa Bliss and Asuka are now your WWE Women's Tag Champions after beating Damage CTRL of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Any of those things you want to touch upon?
Yeah, I think the story with Carmella is very, very, very tragic. And what was extraordinarily disheartening, although sadly par for the course and exactly what I've come to expect from the community, which sucks to say, but it really is, people going in and saying just horrible things to Carmella about this.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Right now, Amazon is offering some amazing extra perks that come with a job offer. If you start a warehouse job, you can get a $1,000 sign-on bonus. That means you start earning a paycheck right away, plus you get extra cash to use before the holidays. Applying is so easy, you don't even need an interview. It's never been so rewarding to start an hourly job that's close to home. So what are you waiting for? To join the team today, visit amazon.com/sign-on bonus. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Oh, because she's a homewrecker?
Yes.
Or alleged homewrecker. I'm sorry, that kind of stuff.
Any number, any number of people tap dancing on this, and I think that that makes you the scum of the earth. And if you're listening to this show and you did something like that, I hope you really internalize that and take it with you all.
Yeah, I mean, the internet was a poor idea.
And then what was the third headline there?
I had
the damage control getting completely neutered.
Yes.
What is the point of this faction?
I don't know unless they're all gonna win or it's for all the marbles at War Games. But it just they're having a rematch at Crown Jewel tomorrow morning. I don't see the point. I really don't, unless Damage Control is standing atop, and the big news coming out of there is they're gonna switch all the women's titles in Saudi Arabia, which I could see as kind of a move they might do.
A big women moment in Saudi Arabia as symbolism.
Yes, I think they're. God, I don't understand why would they tempt fate like that, but they might. Yeah, this whole thing is confusing. Do we want to do a Crown Jewel preview, or do we just want to do Lazy River stuff and maybe there's stuff?
No, let's do a Crown Jewel preview. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Lazy River. Anything we watched, past or present, can come up right now, but usually we start at the beach when there's a premium live event, dip our toes in the water and do a preview of said thing. 8 matches from Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel. Hopefully the Iranians don't do anything during this card, as has been rumored. This thing was almost scrapped completely, and in fact, there was a couple of people who tried to pull a prank by saying it was scrapped and was going to be in Orlando. It is not. It is in Saudi Arabia, and there are heightened security protocols there. Starting with the tag match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, your new champs, taking on Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky.
I do kind of think this might be a switcheroo where Dakota Kai and Io Sky get the titles back, just to say that they have big title changes at Crown Jewel.
I could see them giving the belts to all the heels, and in 2 weeks having those belts on the line in War Games. So I agree with you. Tag match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship in a match that might slap the Usos. Jay and Jimmy taking on the Brawling Brutes of Ridge Holland and Butch.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this match, actually. And I think the Usos retain, but I just think this is going to be a really fun match.
Last woman standing, a very interesting match choice for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair taking on Bayley. We're gonna go with Bayley. I think we're both.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bayley on this too. Yeah, I think the most likely thing is the Damage Control wins all these titles, but in the most dubious ways possible. Like they finally just go into full heel, we're cheating all the time mode.
In what is going to be an absolute car crash, but this crowd might eat it alive, Braun Strowman against Omos in a singles match.
Ooh, this is tough.
I think Braun wins this.
Yeah, I think Braun wins this, but it's not conclusive. I don't think Braun does the running power slam to finish off Omos.
I think he's going to have to put his working boots on too to fly for Omos. That's going to be the interesting part.
We might have to get high flying Strowman again, which he's done in the past.
Yes.
And is actually better at it than you might think. But I think we might have to get some of that because it is not going to be Omos being the unit of movement in that matchup.
Steel cage match: Drew McIntyre versus Fallen Prey, Karrion Kross with Scarlett. I still don't know who they're building in this, to be honest with you.
I don't know either. I'm gonna go Kross, but I have no strong ideas here.
They can't do anything supernatural because that would be against Saudi law, so that'd be interesting. They couldn't even do they were around there for Halloween. They couldn't do costumes and stuff. So I think I'm gonna go the other way. I think they're gonna give this to Drew McIntyre. Okay.
And Kross has to come out in the most boring, plain Jane, all black. Yeah, Scarlett might not even be out there with him.
That's true. God, can you imagine international incident because they forgot that Scarlett can't, wear lingerie to the ring? That would be
right. Yeah, and also, what is the point of a fully clothed up Scarlett?
Very true.
Yeah, I'm just. What is the point of this character?
In what is an interesting match, and you have to give him credit, Brock Lesnar against Bobby Lashley. Hoss fight, baby. I am here for this. I think Senor Brock is going over, though.
Yeah, I think Brock goes over. I'm actually kind of into this, too. I think that this will deliver what you sort of wanted, although knew better than to think that Omos and Braun Strowman would deliver.
Yeah. The OC of AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson who you might recall had to give depositions on the last time they had went to Saudi Arabia, versus Judgment Day of Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley. Does the female whoever OC is getting appear in this, or does Rhea Ripley hit Gallows in the balls again to win?
I'm thinking maybe the female appears.
I think you're correct, and I think it's going to be Nikki Cross.
Nikki's aligned with AJ, and that would make sense with the color scheme.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know that for a fact. There have been a lot of names that have been bandied about, but I think one of the reasons why they've been putting Nikki Cross as Reborn out here is to put her with the OC. And then finally, in what is also a very interesting match for different reasons, Roman Reigns with the Bloodline, except for Sami Zayn, who does not go to the Middle East for obvious reasons, versus Logan Paul with Jake Paul for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. I think at the end of the night, we're going to be praising Logan Paul again.
Yup, I think so too.
I like him as a wrestler. I'm sorry to say that, kid.
This is going to be a good wrestling match with good skit and narrative stuff in it. I tend to think it.
But he can wrestle. He has the ups. He's good at this. I won't be surprised to see Jake Paul if he's, well, no, Jake Paul won't, because he's still got boxing money to make, so he won't do anything. But Logan Paul is going to fly for your boy Roman, and he's going to make Roman look like $1 million in defeat.
Yeah, I think like there's that, and I just think like they're almost like perfectly matched in terms of their slightly gray status. Like they always try to present Logan Paul as a babyface, but it never takes.
Right.
And Roman Reigns has moved way past like hated heel to now like we all love this like bad character because he's fun and he's funny.
That'll do it for Crown Jewel, and it makes for a perfect segue into the Lazy River. And I wish to go first because I have been waiting now for 7 days to talk about this SmackDown segment from FS1, which was very little watched because, well, it was watched on the internet, but FS1 was running SmackDown. This piece of business with Sammy and the Usos was absolutely fantastic. Possibly my favorite wrestling segment promo of the year.
Yes.
And the goofiness of the latter half of it is absolutely earned through the seriousness of the first part of it. Roman Reigns, for those of you who don't watch The Fed, and there's a lot of you. So the Bloodline comes out and basically Jay and Sami Zayn have not been getting along. Roman Reigns is telling them to fix it. So Sammy's like, all right, I surrender. Best way to end an argument is to surrender. He says, okay, fine. I apologize. Whatever I did wrong, etc., etc. Jay is having absolutely none of this. Says, get out of my face. I hate your hair. I hate your face. I hate that stupid shirt. Blah, blah, blah. And of course, Sammy.
And that, of course, referenced back to another great segment in the Bloodline here when they gave him the shirt. That was another very good one.
Sammy, of course, is just merely, I mean, he's just the most innocent waif right now going, I am just trying to make peace. I don't know what your problem is with me. Jay, the tribal chief says we have to make peace. And Jay, deep in anger, goes, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief has to say. And Roman, this gets his attention real quick.
No, it's great though, because there's this that is played so perfectly. There's the dead stop. The crowd is completely into all of the dialogue on this, and that's really important because they all do the you hear it in the crowd, and Roman's back is turned to them, but we can see Roman's face.
Well, you can see Jay's face too when he said it. He realizes, and Paul and Sammy are just kind of looking at each other, going, "Oh man, here we go." Hero Sammy saves the day by saying, look, Jay just hasn't been himself. He's going through a lot right now. He hasn't been feeling oozy.
Very oozy. He has not been feeling very oozy. Yeah.
Now a little bit of help from Urban Dictionary. Apparently, according to the internet, so it may not be true, is that oozy is also slang for the female genitalia in Samoan. So part of what might have been breaking up these guys is the fact that they got an entire arena to get past standards and practices to start chanting a naughty word, which is great. But this is the point where this becomes one of the greatest improv scene / sketch comedy things I have seen in a long time. And I'm going to break it down why right here. Now, Jay's trying to prep himself for all this, and Jay is struggling. Being a straight man is hard when you're dealing with very, very funny people. And I talk on here a lot about corpsing and how, look, in most situations, in 99% of the situations you get, maybe 90, a little bit less, corpsing is a sign that you're not focused. It's a sign that you're listening too much as a fan. You're not focused as an actor. You're not playing your role. That said, when you get a guy who's very serious and a very good straight man, and you get him to start cracking, it is also a sign of affection to see how far you can make this guy break. And Sammy and Roman are showing no mercy to Jay this entire. Jimmy's cracking up in the background. I think Solo was cracked a thing too. But Jay is, as the tweet I retweeted said, he is hanging on for dear life, and Sammy's not helping. Jacob and Roman goes,
he lays it on. They both lay it on so thick.
Roman comes in first and goes, is that it? You're not feeling, and he takes this pause, which is just killing Jay, right? A Uzi, and Jay is starting to struggle, and he's covering his mouth, and Sammy says something that's not caught on mic, and I don't know what it is, but Jay kind of turns her head and goes, oh, I hate you so much, kind of thing right there, which is giving both of them the signal to go even harder into it. And so Roman is now emphasizing every word, where it's like, oh, you know what we're going to do here? We're going to make him Sammy Uso. We're going to take away the honorary, blah, blah. Sammy Uso, just the way he delivers that is killing Jay, and he's trying not to laugh. And then Sammy just gets the most wide-eyed puppy dog. I'm going to be an Uso, Daddy. We're going home. You're going to be my real
I'm going to be a real boy. I'm going to be a real boy.
Oh, my God. This is such a great piece of comedy and promo.
Roman's facials are so great, too.
Oh.
Like, he has that you put pineapple on pizza face, and it's so funny when he deploys it.
Well, he also has the delivery of, I am completely in control of this entire situation, even though I've allegedly given control to Jay and Sammy to work things out. I'm the one pulling the strings here, and I will be the one laying down the law eventually. But my God, I watched this thing about 50 times during the week, and it never got old.
No, I must have watched it like 8 or 10 times, and it was funny every single time I watched it. Like, there were different things that I could focus on in each repeat watch that were new and funny things to take in.
Yes.
Like, it was a really great scene. And I think Jay did a really great job all the way up to, I don't give a damn about the tribal chief. And then, he had to just hang on for dear life from there, because, between Sammy and Roman, dude, you'd be dying 1,000 deaths trying to stay angry at these guys as they're being funny as hell.
I'm also going to give credit to a very well-written segment. I don't know how you felt about this, but I really liked on Raw the 60 Minutes parody with Byron Saxton. Was it a great segment? Debatable, but it was something different.
Yes.
And Byron played it absolutely straight without winking and nodding at all. He was Mike Wallace / Ed Bradley here. And the entire, just the taking what makes things funny in wrestling is taking an absurd premise and playing it straight. And the entire story of Dexter Lumis here being played straight as an investigative matter, I really enjoyed it, Chris.
Yeah, I liked it. I think I don't know how you stick the landing on this, because it makes you really go well, then what does that really say about Dexter Lumis?
Yes.
The whole reason he's mad at Miz is that he hasn't been getting paid?
Yes, there are holes in this. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want to see this every week. But as a piece of wrestling television to get guys over,
it's a different approach
versus an in-ring segment or a music video or whatever. This is a different approach. I thought it was a noble effort, and I want to give the Fed some credit over that because I'm about to trash some NXT stuff.
I'll go a different route of unlike credit giving. I kind of like the integrated faction group thingy. Like you
Men
now
and
have
women thing?
Yeah, like their faction. Yeah, you have like one woman, but she's like a wrestler, but in with the faction as well. I like that.
I like that a lot. I think they're towing a dangerous line with Rhea being able to beat up men. Because
yes,
they don't want to do...
yeah, right. You don't want to do comeuppance, and that's I think the one danger.
Yes, and I don't like that aspect of it, but I do like women being full. I mean, that was what we were suggesting for like the Pinnacle, was to bring in Jade as a member of the Pinnacle and to get that over that way, because in AEW they're not really members of stables, and there they have their own separate. They have Plessy versus Ferguson stables. They're separate but equal. They all the women join in groups, but they don't get to really join with the men all that much, with the exception of like the JAS now, and formerly, who was Anna with? Oh, the Dark Order, I guess. The geek stables you can put them in with, but not as like main event. Like there's no female in the Blackpool Combat Club, even though you do have a couple of decent options, and I think both Serena Deeb and also when she comes back, Layla Hirsch. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that they're doing. I hope it doesn't. I'm not a fan of intergender. I know a lot of other people are. Your mileage may vary. I hope it doesn't lead to that. Let's put it that way. But yeah, but they also are trying to do the China thing with Rhea right now.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just saying I like it for characterization because, like, I don't know, I think this whole idea that men and women could be friends is a neat idea. Worth trying.
I talked for a long time. You can go again.
Okay. Trying to think on what else happened on Raw that I thought was worth noting on. Okay, here's something to talk about. Our poor dude, R-Truth, taking that horrible bump on NXT this week. That was rough to see, man. He was in a match with Grayson Waller. He decides to go over the top, basically for like a somersault, kind of like plancha to the outside, and just smacks the ground. Waller is not there because Truth comes up short. He just doesn't get any clearance off of this.
Yeah,
it's like
when he
didn't let go of the rope. Yeah,
when he planted the foot, I think that was where it. I think it's a torn quad. It's either a torn quad or an ACL. They haven't really announced it yet, but he is 45 years old. Or no, I think he's 50. I think he's older than I am.
My God.
And he's doing that kind of stuff.
His athleticism is just incredible.
It's incredible.
And there have been other times that we've seen him over the last several years here, well into his 40s, where he is, done like splits, and his vertical and his movement and stuff is still so good.
I think that's the last bump we see from him, though. I think he'll be brought back as a personality, but I think as a full-time guy, dude, he has outkicked his coverage on this run. If he's making bank on this thing, he's been there for, 10, 15 years now?
And R-Truth can be a really great host personality type.
Yes. Or even a manager if they ever wanted to do that kind of thing with him again. Yeah. I'm going to put over... I know that they hired Jeff Jarrett this week, but if you want to hire somebody, perhaps to run your promo class, Rick Ross is just awesome. During this entire Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland thing, Rick Ross actually stole it from these two guys. The accusations, false accusations. Was he cutting off Keith Lee a little bit? Yes. Was he hamming it up? Definitely. Was he better than most of the managers / people who talk in AEW? Absolutely. Absolutely adored this segment for what it was. And I'm on a low bar here because it's a celebrity, but it's the thing that popped me the most on this show, in a show that had a weak outline, Chris, and I'll explain that after, if you have any thoughts on Rick Ross.
I don't have any thoughts on Rick Ross, but no, I kind of feel you. This show, the only way we were talking about before the show, the only way that this show really makes sense to me as like a thematic thing is this is the stuff that Tony Khan wants to see on television. But it didn't feel like a show coherent with a brand.
Well, that's kind of okay. So we start off. We have the match with how did we start?
We have Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal.
Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. We get the Jeff Jarrett debut. Big enough news for one show to be memorable. Okay, great.
Wait. You gonna bury the lead that they revealed Colt Carter. Colt Carter.
There were crickets who weren't even speaking at that
moment.
Are
you kidding me? That was white hot. What I saw on television was a crowd in stunned silence.
I'm going to give credit to JEdoubleF of Fight Game Media who came up with this joke, and I think it's actually true. I think the whole reason Colt Carter was the reveal on that was the whole joke about Mike Graham saying that Jeff Jarrett never drew a dime in this industry. And instead, he's now drawn 2 dimes. I think that's the only reason Colt Carter was underneath the Sting outfit, was for a joke that only the boys in the back would have gotten.
Wow.
But we go from the Jarrett reveal, which is great, but then we have a title eliminator for your AEW world title. And then we have an ROH world title match with Colt Cabana. And then we have the All Atlantic title match with Shibata coming out. So we already have 4 newsworthy things on this show. And your world champion is out during the first hour. Your Ring of Honor champ is out towards the beginning of the second hour. And we end the show with an ROH TV title match. Are you kidding me? I like Samoa Joe. And I like I don't really like Brian Cage all that much. But
yeah, no, I don't like Brian Cage.
Now that I think about it. But I mean, and this crowd could not have given a damn about this TV title match because you've already given them the good stuff. I mean, this is just if you put this show on paper and then you had the Nyla Rose, Marina Shafir, Jade Cargo, whatever the hell that thing was, you had the segments, but it's like you just shuffled the deck and put them in whatever order they came up in versus a coherent plan. I did not understand. As a television show, this was weak sauce, and I was enjoying the show for the first hour until I realized this is actually a bad show.
Yeah. It's like if you put out an album with maybe that songs that like individually might be good on different albums, but like as a pulled together album, it doesn't make sense. That's kind of
it's like making a mixtape of like dance songs, and then your last song is this downer.
Yeah, I mean, but like, okay, there were other things that for me were done. Like Daddy Ass's birthday bash was.
Oh, I enjoyed that.
Really? Okay, I guess it's just that like I think that the Swerve and Billy Gunn segment last week was not like this charming or super.
Oh, it was terrible. I thought
it was terrible. I thought it was trash. But apparently that's divisive. Some people love that, whereas I just thought that was unfunny trash.
The thing I didn't like in the birthday bash was the insider referencing to both the reverse battle royal and then like the DX reunion and things like that. But I did think
well, these are good jokes because they get explained, as all good jokes do.
But Max Caster being a babyface promo and Anthony Bowen's improvement on the stick were great. And I thought the Ass Boys and W. Morrissey's beatdown was pretty darn good too. So, I mean, it was Memphis-esque by way of Stamford. Very much, but I didn't mind it all that much, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I just think it's a little thin. Like all they've got is scissor.
I got you.
I
got you.
Yeah,
but it's gonna make them money.
I like them, and like no, I'm not disagreeing with you that Caster and Bowens are improved. I mean, we've always been very high on the Acclaim, and I've always been very high, in particular on Caster. I just think yes. I've said this before. Yeah,
I thought we were high on Bowens.
No, I was high on Caster.
Okay.
I've always thought he's like he has like a certain charisma. It's like it's palpable. Some people like kind of like pop off the screen. I feel like he does that, and Bowens does too in his own way. But like Caster can carry segments, and like we're definitely seeing more of that. I still just kind of like the feud is weird with like them and FTR. Like, how that match will play out to me is weird too.
I think we're getting a 4-way at the pay-per-view. which is going to be a mess. I would now like to give you an open letter to all wrestling companies. I am tired of the creepy gimmicks. We've had enough of these. Just give me people who like to fight and talk crap. That's all I want right now. I want tough guys. I am tired of poets in the NXT parking lot. I am tired of whatever the hell this
Malachi Black thing is, the Bray
Malachi
Wyatt
Black
thing. Uncle
Bray
Howdy
Wyatt.
stinks. I'm sorry, Uncle Howdy stinks.
Donovan whatever I would call him Dijak, but T-Bar, whatever the hell he's doing right now with his poetry and the burning mask and stuff like that. I'm tired of this. This doesn't make the guys edgy. Okay? The Undertaker was over and he was supernatural. Great. We don't need another Undertaker. We don't need. I know a lot of people love the Batman. The Riddler character wasn't all that interesting to me. Gotta tell you.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Did not
wow,
like it.
we're splitting the show right here. I didn't realize you were coming in on my boy, the Riddler. Okay. All right.
Well, you know, the Joker in the Dark Knight, Heath Ledger did a great job of it. Don't need a second one.
Oh, I wasn't saying the Riddler in the movie. I guess I was saying Riddler broadly as a character.
Yeah, no, the Riddler in the movie, the Royal Dano or Paul Dano or whichever.
Paul Dano. No. Less interesting.
Yeah, no, he was not interesting at all, and it seems like half the characters in wrestling are now trying to be that. I'm tired.
I mean, especially when like the promos read like James Hetfield lyrics. Like,
yes.
like I the thing with the Undertaker that made him cool is that like mostly it was all vibes. He doesn't talk a lot. Like his promos are all about mood, and he says like about maybe 50 to 75 words grand total, and that's it. But they're almost always, they're like, I don't know, like even when he's like, "You will rest in peace" or whatever. It's
we're here to cause havoc, and then you never cause havoc. That's all these.
Yeah, and like yes, that script or whatever, that guy like
scripts.
Yes, I find him to be eminently cheesy.
Yeah,
it's like I'm vandalizing the building that I work at. Wow, cool, dude.
I'm crapping where I eat, aren't I? Edgy. Yeah.
Take that, Mr. Manager.
I have 2 points about NXT, and then I am done with my list, so I will give one of them now. Pretty Deadly or Pretty Fantastic. That entire promo segment at the beginning of NXT this week, saved by the Pretty Deadly guys.
Yes, but I actually thought that Breaker and Wesley, for their part, are coming in to their own a little bit personality.
And the match was great. And the match was great, especially Elton versus Braun Breaker. Those parts. Of
yes, I really like Elton.
Yes.
He does a nice job, like being like actually like aggressive, and then begging off. It's a really happy medium.
I believe he is the Lance Storm trainee of the two, which also puts him high on the list because all Lance's trainees know how to do their stuff. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And now you bring it up, there's like he's not Tyler Breeze, but there's certain like qualities that like Tyler Breeze and him share that I think are byproducts of the Storm education.
Yeah, definitely. And the bad look, you all know that as a perverse pleasure, I love me the Kiana James character, her and her buxom Brazilian secretary living in the porn world that doesn't have any porn in it. But this Thea Hale match was terrible in terms of logic and work.
Yeah.
The high wrist lock forever was terrible. So we have the match. We have all the crappy interference by Duke Hudson trying to, warm himself up to Chase. He gets thrown out, and then they just hit the finisher again and pin her. I just went, what? Well,
and then Duke comes back for the save.
Yes. Just ridiculous.
That was a very bad segment.
That was a very bad segment.
Very, very bad segment across the board.
That's the crux of my notes. If there's something in AEW you wanted to talk about, because we covered a lot of that in the news section.
I guess the only thing that the only other headline for me from NXT is it looks like we're maybe turning Zoe Stark heel, and that actually has some intrigue to me.
Yeah, it does to me, but not now. And it's very weird because I don't think they ever got to the pinnacle of what Zoe Stark could be as a babyface.
I agree.
Like they should have had her beat Mandy Rose.
That would be interesting.
When they fought at the takeover or whatever.
Yes, yeah, that would have been good, and then have her turn heel during the title reign would actually have been
eventually, when Nikita Lyons comes after the title or whatever, or maybe they put this in their back pocket and she does. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do because Mandy Rose, she's not much of a champion to me. She's a presence. I think
she's very good on the microphone now.
Well, once you hear her delivery, it kind of becomes repetitive, but at the same time, I don't think she's bad.
Her delivery is kind of repetitive, but like she's actually, there's more content there than I think you might realize at first blush. She's won me over. I was not a Mandy Rose fan.
It's not that I'm not a Mandy Rose fan. She's gotten her fill as champion. But now she's far too powerful to beat for some reason. And that's what I don't like. It's like her power does not belie her in-ring talent. And it's not that she's bad. It's that she's a little bit of the honky-tonk man. I won't go that far. That's a bit insulting, to be honest with you.
No, I'm kind of with you here, though. Like, the whole thing with Toxic Attraction, I think, needs to be really clever ways for Rose to win the title. Like every single time they have like a really brilliant devious scheme. And like, yeah, they're going to win with a devious scheme. But I mean, I think that really should be the thing for that faction for Mandy Rose. She's not a formidable, credible wrestling sort of champion. She is a brilliant and devious champion with JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. And that's the thing with the characterization I feel like they've been missing along the way here.
I'll reiterate this again then, since I don't have many notes left. Shibata comes back and you're only going to give 2 days notice for a build? I don't understand this. I understand that you put it best. He's doing shows for Tony Khan, and I get that. And I get that the hardcore fan base might show up for this, for Rampage, but not a lot do. I just feel like this is something that should be like 2 or 3 weeks worth of build, and I don't get it.
I got one other thing too. The Back to the Future with the being the elite. I like the problem. Like watching Dynamite this week between the Jericho stuff and the Buck stuff, and then the formatting of the show. I'm just like, there's a lot of self-indulgence on this show, which I was extremely critical of in the late McMahon era, not all that long ago, and I just. When you see, remember the weirdly self-indulgent Vince segments? Like, this is the 1074th episode of SmackDown.
The longest running episodic dramatic television show in history. Give me an effing break.
Yeah, I just, like, there's a lot of self-indulgence on this show. And, like, whether or not you like the people who are being self-indulgent, and I get that some people like the people being self-indulgent, and others, don't necessarily care for them as much. I still think in either case, even if you like the people who are being self-indulgent, you gotta concede that it just makes for a weaker show when the show is really at the tender mercies of ego and self-indulgence, rather than what is best for this product on screen, and thus best for our business, and then thusly best for everyone on net.
Yeah, that's all I have for this week. You?
That's it.
Just Shake Them Ropes. You can find me on the Twitter still at CrapGame13. You can find Chris at DWATG. You can just follow the show at Shake Them Ropes. We are part of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network, available on all your favorite podcatching devices. Obviously, but you know what? If you only like us, you can just download that show. We have our own separate feed as well. I am on Wednesday nights, about 10 minutes after Dynamite ends. I record the Dynamite show with one Paul Ace Fontaine over at Fight Game Media for $5 a month. You can listen to all the shows over there. If you don't have enough wrestling podcasts to listen to, patreon.com/Fight Game Media. That usually drops about an hour and a half after Dynamite ends on your podcatchers, but it's just in time for your Thursday morning listening, should you choose to do it that way. Chris also has things to plug. He's going to do that now.
Yeah, I mean, really the best way to find me these days is by going to Instagram.com. My handle over there is Dr. DOCTOR_Nove. You can see what I'm up to. Like just today, I was in the studio recording with my band. Posted a bunch of stuff on my story there. You can follow all my music going-ons there. Excited about that stuff. The Patreon for Don't Worry About the Government is still active, but really what you're going to be getting there over the next couple of months, if you sub up, is the soft and quiet release of my EP. Just today, I haven't even told Jeff this yet, but I found someone who's going to like produce. I actually found the guy I want to produce the final product here. So that will be coming out imminently. If you're interested in keeping up with that, or whenever I drop a Don't Worry About the Government again, which will be on the other side of getting all of this stuff out here, go to patreon.com/DWATG.
And we'll see you next week.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.